more officially, welcome. This is Yoga Pilates Fusion. So we're gonna start, you can start just laying down on your back, right? And then breathing and then paying attention to the breath, expanding the ribs, and kind of making more room for itself. As you breathe, hopefully the muscles in between the ribs will all loosen up and all that kind of thing. Or you can do a little bit of a chest opener. So you can do that with 2 yoga blocks if you have those. One yoga block goes up and the other goes a little lower. This one goes right underneath your shoulder blades. This one goes underneath your head. Some people prefer it more on the narrow end under the shoulder blades. I really like it wide because I want each shoulder blade to rest on the block. I find that the most comfortable option. If not that, then what you could do is use a blanket. Now this is just a simple, Mexican blanket that I got in Arizona in a Mexican import store. It's pretty straightforward. This one is a little bit thinner than some of them are woven a little thicker, so yours might be a little bit different, and you might fold it a little differently for that reason. So this one's been folded in half twice, and then I'm going to fold it one more time, and then you can either roll it up so that it's a little bit of a tighter circle, but for some people that's a little bit aggressive. So what I like to do instead is fold it essentially into thirds. And this creates like a little bit more of a pranayama bolster size. They make bolsters for this. And if you're in a mood to invest in yoga things, you could get one. But anyway, this will go underneath the middle of the back so the shoulders kind of fold around the edges. And this just gives a little extra stretch to the secondary breathing muscles and the muscles in the chest, which I think are nice. All right, so if you're with me, let's do that and use whichever object you have in hand. If you don't have any of those things, just lie down. it's gonna work out. Okay, so the first thing I do is get myself organized. So the blanket can come down much lower. I let that go all the way to the bottom of my rib cage so that there's ribs on it, a little bit more bony structure to help support me. If I use the block, it's way up high, right under the shoulder blades. It's a little bit pokier. Now, if I keep my arms, and I'm not holding them in, but if I just allow the arm to kind of drop where it would naturally drop, then this opening is going to be very subtle and mostly in the shoulder stabilizer muscles that are deeper and so don't have as much of the sensory nerves that send information back, right? So the muscles on the outer part of the body have a few more of those nerves. We feel more closer to the surface of our body than we do when we get to these deep stabilizers. But if I wanted to, I could take the arms out wider, and that's going to pull a little bit more of a stretch through my chest muscle that's on the outside, the pectoralis major, and that will be a little bit more sensation. You'll feel more stretch there. So depending on how you want to roll, can adjust your arms. Now, the legs can be as they are now, which my feet are resting on the floor with my legs pretty well balanced. You can also knock the knees together. And this is referred to as constructive rest. You can take the legs all the way out straight, which I quite often like. Or you can put the feet together and make a little diamond, a little butterfly wing set up and do that. Okay, a little bit more inner thigh stretch there. So you pick for yourself. And then we're going to hang here for a bit and breathe. Breathing seems very precious right now. And so I like to take a few moments every day and just watch the magical process of an inhale and an exhale. And then another. do about 3 more of these breaths. So if you have blocks underneath you, that will require maybe a couple of different motions to get them out. For the blanket, it's pretty straightforward. Just roll a little bit off of it and take it out. And then roll back onto your back and notice how that left you. Now, I'm always very curious about how the different yoga poses or different sequences kind of feel in the body afterwards. And when I use a blanket, it's quite subtle, but it feels almost like there's a little impression left in the center. So one thing that feels really good to me is to stretch the arms up really far so that the shoulder blades come around a little bit and you get a little access to that muscle area, and then just kind of rock back and forth. And sometimes I'll notice that there's little places that feel tight or a little bit knotty. And I can work a little bit of space into my upper back that way. Okay, and then you can windshield wiper the legs if that seems like a nice thing to do. So we're going to go into a slightly deeper stretch maybe. It will be for me, along the chest and also on the outer hip by just doing a twist. So we're going to bring the legs over, and you can wrap one leg around the other. I like to use a little blanket underneath. And then as I let this hip come around and work my upper back into the twist, if I stretch my arm out, I get a much bigger stretch through the chest muscle and this outer hip. So that's what we're after. And if it's a mild stretch, that's okay too. Not all of us are going to feel the same thing as us, as someone else. And I'm kind of using my core muscles, the muscles on the side of my waist, to sort of try to spin in 2 directions, to try to spin my hip this direction and simultaneously spin my shoulder that direction. So I'm being a little bit more active here, right in the center point, where you can also be quite passive. I'm going to take 2 more breaths here. I'm going to gently bring that leg back to the center, pause for a moment, see if I could feel a difference between the 2 sides. So just that one little pose, not held for all that long, one side feels almost like it's longer than the other. I think that's pretty cool. All right, let's do the other side. So we're going to bring the legs around. I like to give it about 30 seconds in between twists, especially if you've been working a little bit more to kind of create that twist muscularly because it lets the spine kind of recover, move fluid around in the discs. So I'm taking my hip this direction and I'm taking my shoulder that direction. I'm trying to use like different parts of the obliques work in the different ways, right? So one set of obliques is helping me go that way, and one set is helping me go this way. And I think it's interesting to feel how that works, how those fibers of muscle that run in this direction and in that direction feel when you engage them intentionally. Take about 3 more big breaths here. We're going to come back to the center. Almost felt like melting back to the center. And then pause for a moment and notice where you landed. So already that feels really nice. I'm gonna set this aside. I will bring that back out later. For now, we're gonna bring the knees into the chest. And we're gonna take the knees and kind of hover them just over the top rib of the pelvis. The arms are gonna go out like a T. Now you can do your palms up or your palms down, whatever's gonna give you the sense of your shoulders being able to really secure themselves to the floor. Sometimes I even bend at the elbow and kind of press my upper arms down, so I keep a nice steady shoulder. The knees are gonna come over to one side. Now, depending on your space limitations, you might wanna do what I'm gonna do, which is just curl the knees in towards the armpit, bring them back to that height where the pelvis is, come to the center, lift the knees up, come to the center, bring the legs over to the left, lift, and then return to that center point, okay? Or, when you come to the edge, if you've got more room, you can straighten out your legs or just straighten out one leg, and that'll change it up a little bit, and you decide what's right for you. Try to keep your shoulders nice and stable so that the movement, in fact, is being done by the core. One more time. Now when you get back to the center, having done both sides evenly, just pause for a moment and notice. Like, do you feel any warmth in certain areas? Is there any tenderness? So you always want to learn from your practice. If there's tenderness, we're going to be a little more mindful of those areas of the body. Just make sure we take good care of them. And then if everything feels kind of interesting and warm, that's fun. So we're gonna bring the right leg in, give it a little hug if you can. If you can't hug your leg, don't worry about it. Just, you can put a hand on it, or you can just leave the leg hanging out in space. I like the act of hugging it if you have the opportunity, but if you don't, it's no big deal. And then this left leg is kind of hanging out here in space. And then I'm gonna, or just laying on the ground, I'm gonna spin the right foot in circles. And I try to get some circles that are kind of as big a range of motion as I can do, and some that are a little less. And then do the other direction with the circles. And then point and flex the foot back and forth, and as you do so, see if you can get the bones in the foot or the toes to kind of spread out and squish together as well. So this next part, you're gonna maybe wanna let go of your leg for. It's possible you'll be okay. We're gonna press the heel up as far as it'll go until it feels like the back of the leg is in a stretch. Don't tear anything. And then bend the knee and come in. So if you need to let go of your leg so that you can extend it all the way, let go of it. All right. And then one more time, we're gonna see if we can extend the leg. You don't have to go all the way straight either. As long as there's a stretch there, you're there. And then we're gonna let go, and leaving that leg straight up, I'm gonna turn the rest of this on. So I'm gonna take this left leg, rotate it inwardly a little bit so the toes point straight up. Dig into the heel just a little bit, engage the muscles trying to lift your kneecap up. And then you're gonna take the upper back, press it nice and firm into the floor, press your arms nice and firm into the floor, and draw the sides of your waist in. So we're gonna try to hold our torso completely stable while we take this leg across our body and sweep it out in a big circle, okay? So it goes across, out in a big circle. The work we're doing is on all this stabilization. The leg is just making it harder to stay stable. So we'll do that one more time in that direction. When you get to the top, take it out to the side, bring it down so it's even, and then straight up the center, okay? And your range of motion should be whatever is appropriate. There's sensations in your hip that don't feel good, change the range of motion, see if that's better. Okay, last one. All right, bring that knee in, put that foot down, bring the other foot and put it down, and then pause for just a moment and see if you can feel a difference. Like, you might feel a difference just in having relaxed your body a little bit. You might feel the difference in the leg. Right on. So we're going to do the other side. So let's let the right leg kind of rest. We'll bring the left leg in, give it a hug if it's available, and then spin that left foot in circles. And go the other direction with the circle. And point and flex that foot. Press up through that heel, and then come together, push up through the heel, come together, push up through the heel, bring it together. All right, last one, we're gonna push up through the heel, we're gonna probably feel a big stretch, and then we're gonna let the leg go. Keeping that one up, we're going to rotate this right thigh a little bit inwardly, toes pointing straight up. Organize your upper back so that it's nicely pressed into the floor. And then we're going to take this leg around. Now I have I have objects, so I may not do as big a circle on this side, but it doesn't really, the circle's not important. What's important is that you're stabilizing. Okay, so I get all those stabilizers back in place, and then make a circle that's an appropriate size given the circumstances. Again, my hip wants to roll as I do this, so I am really focusing on keeping my hip stable. Okay, last one in that direction. And then I'm going to go out to the side, bring my legs together, come straight up the center. Try to hold stable. Hug in the sides of your waist. Last one. Bring that leg back in, and the other leg, and you can do this with two straight legs or with the bent knees. Just notice how that landed you. All right, so we're going to do two more exercises. One is a stabilizing exercise where we're going to, again, we're going to move the legs. We're going to try to keep everything stable, and then the other is a little bit more movement. So we're going to repeat some of the things we've already done. We're going to do a little bit more of a twisting motion. So this is going to be a movement-oriented practice. So bringing the hands behind your head, we're going to try to keep the neck really stable. So I've made essentially a basket out of my hands. I press my head into the hands and press the hands into my head, and that stabilizes my neck. So there's no tendency to pull. Now that's the thing though. You have to be mindful of that, because we're not trying to pull on our neck. We're trying to keep the neck nice and stable so that the movement will come from the abs and not from the neck, okay? So we're going to bring the right leg in, left leg's going to go out straight. We're going to curl up and then do that 2 more times. 1, 2, come back to the middle, bring both knees in. Right leg is straight. 1, 2, 3, come back to the center, okay? Again, be mindful, not pulling on your neck, but pressing the head back. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, center. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, center. Inhale there, exhale. Just keep on going. We got one more set. All right, now pause for a moment. So I don't know if you're not accustomed to doing Pilates. Pilates is done in a very controlled manner. It's not a fast movement. It's really designed to try to get deep, deep, deep. And so this lift a little bit, lift a little bit, lift a little bit more, really tries to get us to get all that air out and really dig deep into those muscle fibers. And so similarly, any of the Pilates that we do is not going to be done in a super fast manner. It's going to be done with kind of controlled focus. Okay, now you can come back to this little head basket, pressing your head into your hands, curl your shoulder blades up off the mat, which is going to make you use part of this rectus abdominis, and then you can extend your legs, kind of squeeze them together, We're gonna lower the legs down for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come back. Now, that is a lovely way to do it. If you overdo things with your neck, or sometimes just body proportions are such, if you have longer legs, a little shorter torso, sometimes this can cause a little bit more of a strain on the low back. So in that case, you can leave your head and neck on the floor, engage through the upper back to help press down, and I put my hands right up under the edges so they're very close to the hip bones, and then press down nice and firm into the upper arms. And that helps keep the neck out of the picture and stabilizes my back a little bit better. So you can do it either way. So glue the legs together. We're going to lower them down to make sure your back doesn't leave its neutral curve. We're not trying to eliminate that curve. We're just trying to hold it in neutral. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw in through those abs and stabilize. 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Okay? Lower down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Lower. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Lower. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. 2 more. Lower. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold and stabilize. 3, 2, 1. Come on back. It's the last one. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Bend your knees. Give yourself a little rinse. Oh, that's one of my favorites. I feel parts of the abdominals that I don't feel using it, other movements. All right, yogis, give yourself a big stretch. So now that we've got our core warmed up, let's do some other stuff. So we're going to come up to all fours. We're going to do some movements. I know I had a hair clip, I just don't know what to do with it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, just our regular cat-cow movements, having warmed up the core a bit, suddenly I have a whole new appreciation for them and how good they feel. So you can give yourself some little extra movement. So we're going to bring ourselves to neutral. We're going to pick the right leg up behind us and almost like a little scorpion tail, kind of hook it back and then bring it in and round up. Bring it back, bring it in and round up. Bring it back, bring it in and round it up. And then one more time we're going to do that, and then we're going to bring this leg all the way forward so that we come into a lunge. Now I'm going to use a couple blocks because it gives my arms a little more length. So, right now, I'm in a position where my hip is not feeling a stretch here on the left side. So I'm going to shift my hips forward until I do feel that stretch. And then I'm going to back myself up. And then that gives me a little stretch in the hamstrings on the other side. So we're going to go forward until I feel it. And then come back. One more time, moving forward. Back. Now I'm going to come forward and pause for a moment, and then now I've lifted my upper body, so by lifting the upper body I've added a little bit more to the stretch there in that area. So just notice that. Stay as stable as you can and breathe. One more big breath, and then we're going to take the whole thing down and then try to straighten out your front leg. see if you can stay mostly straight. You can lift the toe up, so mostly right over the leg. And then we're gonna do just a little change up. We're gonna come to a diagonal here with the upper body, and I'm using blocks, but you don't have to. Just kind of fold forward, leaving that leg mostly straight, and then for me this becomes a little bit more of an inner part of the hamstrings, and a little inner thigh as well. Now, I'm going to set my blocks off to the side, take one more breath, and shift your weight forward, and then we're going to take that right leg out behind and the left arm out in front, draw in through the sides of the waist, and hold steady in that spinal balance. One more breath here, and then we'll bring it all down. Notice where it landed you. Do the other side. So the left leg is going to go up and kind of arch, and then bring it in, round up. Bring it back, arch. Bring it in, round up. Bring it back for the arch. Bring it in, round up. One more time. And then we're going to bring it all the way through and come to our lunge. And again, start as best you can without a lot of stretch. Okay? Decide how you're going to stabilize your upper body for now, and then move forward until you do feel something, and move backwards until you feel something. It may never stop feeling. That's part of the fun. Okay, so I'm going to come in one more time, and this time I'm going to stay put. So I'm going to find that sensation in the hip with the upper body extending up. Just breathe. One more big breath. I'm going to take this whole thing down and back the hips up, and again we're going to find the hamstring stretch. Try and stay mostly over the center for now. And then we're going to move to the diagonal here. Again, you don't have to have the blocks. I just find them kind of helpful for whatever reason. I like the height. Taking one more big breath. We're going to come on back to the center. We're going to take that leg all the way back, and the right arm out, and find that spinal balance, and then draw in a bit through the sides of the waist. One more breath, and we'll lower it down. All right, yogis. So we're going to take ourselves to downward facing dog. So starting about shoulder distance apart, tuck your toes, take your hips up. Now, downward dog's not right for you for whatever reason. You can either stay here in the all fours position, or you can come to a forward bend, a standing forward bend, and hold it at the halfway point, okay? So, if downward dog is in your potential repertoire of poses, then once you come here, give yourself a little bit of time to kind of check in with your upper body, find that spot where the shoulder blades feel like they really merge into the upper back, and then work through the legs so that you've got a little bit of a sense of length through the calf muscles and through the leg, the whole back of the leg itself. And do your little work with the hips. At some point you'll be done. Just walk your pose together so you're standing on your feet. Walk your hands back or your feet forward. It works either way. I like half and half. And then pause for a second and shake out one arm and then the other. And give our wrists a little bit of a warm up. A little bit of a release, as the case may be. Spin them the other way. Okay, so we're going to stretch out the fingers, press the palms into the shins, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Give everything a little bit of a release. Press the palms into the shins, or maybe it's the thighs. Spread the fingers out, lift up. Good. Give everything a little curled up release. And then one more time. Palms on the shins, spread out the fingers, lift. And exhale. Give everything a little bit of a rinse. Now we're going to come all the way up to standing. Maybe with my eyes open would be better. And then once you get there, give yourself a big stretch. Okay, so we're going to find our way to the top of the mat. Once you get there, take a moment to feel. Spread out your toes. Try to find that spot where it feels like your feet are pretty much hips distance apart. With the toes pointing as forward as possible. Try to find a sense where your feet are sort of planting on the floor and the arches are lifting. Without locking the knees out, can you let your tailbone get a notch heavier without uncoiling the natural curves of your spine? Can you let your shoulders relax without causing any tension or stress to build up in the shoulders itself? Can you lengthen up through the top of your head again without locking any joints out? And then just feel the mountain pose as it is right now. Weight evenly distributed. Sense of being stable, but also kind of sweetness and kind of lightness to this pose. Stand this way a long time. It'll feel like work. Inhale, you're going to stretch your arms up. Now you might have things in your way, so just do what you can. Oh, big stretch. Fold forward. Come up halfway. Exhale, fold. We're going to step back with the left foot. And so we're in a lunge. Again, you could put your blocks in place if you're using them. So we're going to pause here so that left heel is going to reach back, the right knee is going to reach forward. I might have to wiggle so that I've got the right distance between my 2 feet. I'm going to take a big breath, kind of lift and straighten out both legs. Press down through your left heel, then come back to that lunge. Lift the hips, straighten out both legs. Press down through your left heel. Bend the right knee, come back to that lunge. One more time through that. So hips go up, both legs get straighter. Press your left heel towards the floor. Bend the knee. Now, in this lunge, we're going to come all the way up. I'm going to try to balance here. Taking a little moment. Lift up through the top rim of the pelvis. See what happens if you bend your knee a little bit. Take a nice big breath. We're going to put both hands on the floor and we're going to step back into downward facing dog. Okay, coming forward into a plank. We're going to lower down all the way to the belly. You can put your knees down first if you like. And then we're going to come into cobra. Now cobra done with the back muscles, not with the pushing of the arms. So you lift and then come on back down. Slide your hands back a notch. Lift. Come in on back down, little back a notch. Lift. Pull the elbows back. Trying to make some space across your collarbones. Good, we got one more to go. Lift. Lengthen through your legs. Come on back down. We're going to push ourselves back up. and then into our friend downward dog. Or all fours, as the case may be. All right, feet to the center line. Right leg goes up. Exhale, bring that knee in snug. Inhale, stretch it back. Exhale, bring it in. Stretch it back. Bring it in, curl up around it, and then we're gonna bring it forward, however far it goes. Step your left foot up to meet your right foot. Come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Come all the way to standing. And then bring yourself back to mountain pose. Now, is there a difference between your right side and your left side? Take a nice big breath. Reach up. Oh, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. We're going to step back with the right foot into the lunge. Okay. So again, just find like the right amount of spacing, so you've got the right amount of feeling in that lunge. Then we're going to lift the hips to straighten both legs. Press down through your right heel, and then come back to the lunge. Straighten up both legs a little bit. Press down through your heel. Come back to the lunge. Okay, last one of these. Lift. Heel goes down. Back to the lunge. We're going to try to get ourselves off the floor here. Ooh, furniture is up. Hold and steady as you can. Nice big breath. Beautiful. Let's put both hands on the floor and step back into down dog. Ooh. Come forward into plank. You can add on a little bit if you like, and take a leg in the air. You can modify the plank. We're going to hold it here for 3, 2, 1. Lower down. All right, cobra number 1. Hands up high. Lift. Legs press down. Arms are back. A little further back. Lift. Legs press down. Lengthen the back of your neck a bit. Elbows in. Good. A little more. Spread the palms out. Last one here. Lengthen. Come on back down. Push yourself back up. We're going back to down dog. Getting the legs organized. Left leg goes up. Bring it in. Stretch back. Bring it in. Stretch back. Oh. Bring it in. One more time, stretch back. Bring that knee forward, step it as far forward as it'll go. Bring your right foot up to meet it. Come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Come it all the way up. Oh. It may not be particularly graceful, but you made it. You're here. Oh. And then find mountain pose. And once again, just notice. So we're bringing some of that focus and paying attention into the body. Now, we're going to take a nice big breath, lift nice and tall, come into chair pose. We're going to shift the weight into the right leg, bring the left ankle up on top, and then pause. Now you can keep your arms up, or put your hands a little lower, or even reach back behind you if you wanted to. You could lace your fingers together behind your back. Be prepared to catch though. Nice big breath. Beautiful. We're going to take that leg and step back to warrior 2. And if your warrior 2 doesn't quite work out, just fix it when you get there. Come on back, reverse warrior, and over to side angle. Now in Pilates, this is called the mermaid, this movement. It's not done with the legs in this position. It's done, I don't make close my eyes, I fall over. It's done seated, but it's the same motion. So we're stretching through one side and stretching through the other. Do it one more time. Nice. Now we're going to come all the way back we're gonna take this into a half moon balance. So we're gonna put this right hand on the floor and take this left leg up into the air and open up. And if you fall, catch, okay? See if you can open up. Use this outer hip to help you lift. Whee. All right. You're gonna take this left knee, bring it to the elbow, stretch it back out, bring it to the elbow, stretch it back out, bring it to the elbow, and then put it right down beside the other. Come up halfway, exhale, fold, come all the way up, give it a big stretch. Oh. Find your mountain pose. Oh. Now my right side feels very different than the left. So we should definitely do that on the other side. So we're gonna, again, kind of sink into a chair. Bring the weight to the left, put the right ankle up on top. And then adjust your arms as you like. And hold steady. It helps to keep your eyes stable and open. Don't move them around too much. Last breath here. And then we're gonna take this guy and step back into warrior two. Fix it if it didn't land just right. Come on back to reverse warrior and over, and back and over. We're doing, nice big stretches through the side. Oh, hello, sweet girl. Oh. One more time, you guys. And then we're gonna take this into our half moon balance. I have to readjust my spacing so as not to crush a furry coworker. Okay, let's try it. Up. Okay. Nice and stable lift from here. We're gonna bring the knee and the elbow together. Stretch it back out. Catch the balance. Bring it together. Stretch it back out. One more time. Bring it together, stretch it back out. And then this time we're gonna step all the way back to down dog. Oh. If you wanna throw in a vinyasa, you can. Otherwise, we're coming onto our belly. Is that blocking your way? Okay. And then we're gonna do some cobras. Cobra. And a cobra. And then we're gonna extend the right arm and roll onto the side. Now I'm a little close to my furnishings, so I'm gonna scooch forward a little bit. But if for any reason you can't have your arm up and using it as a pillow, you can put the arm up front and use either a block or your blanket for a pillow. The important part is that your neck stays stable, okay? And then we're gonna try to keep shoulders over shoulders, hips over hips. If you feel really wobbly here, you can swing your legs a little forward, or you can put your hand more forward, or both. Okay, so we're gonna bring the feet behind us so the knees are bent, and then leaving the knees on the ground, we're gonna lift the heels. Okay, so the feet are in the air, knees are on the floor. This creates an internal rotation of this top thigh. Then when I open it, I have to engage muscles out here on the hip. If I can, I'm gonna extend that leg out straight, toes come together, knees come together. Okay, so that's the extension and back. And we're just gonna keep working this as, it's almost like you're underwater. You want it to be super smooth. You want to feel the muscle in this outer hip doing this work, and then this little muscle right here doing part of it as well. So see what you're noticing. We're going to try it 4 more times. I know. I like it when I start to get a little bit tired. 2 more. Try to hold that leg nice and steady. If it gets too tired to extend it, don't extend it, just hold it. Okay, coming on down, straighten both legs out. Notice. And then we're gonna take this leg up front. Now it's almost like it's in a pigeon pose. And so it's a little bit like that chair. If you need to do this leg a little differently, you can certainly just straighten it out or put the knee on the ground. If this works out for you, we're gonna kind of hold onto the hip a little bit right here and lift this bottom leg. Now the bottom leg is gonna do 3 different things. The first thing we're gonna do is pulse it up. Try to feel yourself lift the side waist a little bit on that bottom edge. Here we go, lifting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold the lift and hug that side waist up on the right and hold it steady for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, don't let it drop. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now circle it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Circle it the other direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. All right, now we're gonna actually do a little pigeon, but a reclining one on our back. So, keeping your leg around the edge, just roll onto your back. And then you can either just let the leg rest like that, that might be the best way to go. Or you can bring the leg in and even hold on to both shins if you like. You can hold on to the one leg. You can also hold just this leg. Now be mindful because you can accidentally torque your knee. So you're gonna let that leg relax. And this leg you're gonna hold so the shin bone is nice and stable. Flexed foot, keep the knee at the right angle for the shin and the thigh rotation. Don't try to pull your foot toward you. So the thigh comes towards you but not the foot. And you rotate from the thigh bone to see if you can get that around a little more. And then stretch out through this leg that's on the bottom. And this gets us a little closer to the pigeon without some of the pressure points from gravity when we do it the other way. 3 more big breaths. All right, yogis, we're gonna let this go. Now, if you're cool without seeing the screen, you can certainly just roll over. I'm gonna spin around 180 degrees so that I'm still looking at your beautiful screens out there in cyberland. Okay, hips on top, shoulders on top. Maybe the arms in front, maybe the legs are a little forward to help add more stability, or you can add less stability by keeping it all really lined up. Knees are bent, heels are up, knees are touching each other, and then we open, extend, come back, and close it up, and try to hold steady through the side waist, and try to make this distinct movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Nice and smooth, like you're doing water ballet. Synchronized swimming. Except that we're synchronizing without being in the same room with each other, so we'll hope for the best. We're gonna do 4 more. I've lost count, but I'm going to do 1 more. Okay, now, legs are going to straighten out. Oh, I love the way that kind of warmth in the outer hip feels. We're going to bring this leg up front. We're going to stretch out through that left leg, lift it, and then lift the left side waist as well. And then we're going to lift that leg a little higher, pulse it up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it steady. Lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, to let it drop. 2, 1. Now circling. 5, 4, 3. Keep that lower waist stable. And then go the other direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let that leg come down. We're going to roll onto our back for the pigeon on this side. Oh, and again, you can be super relaxed, just let us hang here. You can hold onto the legs, both of the legs in, or you can stabilize and hold just this top leg and let that other leg stretch out. Again, the angle of your shin has to match how far your leg is willing to rotate, or you'll cause trouble for your knee. So be mindful of your knee. Any discomfort in the knee should probably be paid attention to. I'm not a doctor, but I would recommend paying attention. Because really, oftentimes, because areas where there's a lot of connective tissue, like joints, don't give us enough feedback until things are really wrong. So even like the slightest little twinge of discomfort, I would listen. If it's all in the muscle, that's different. That's, something you can kind of weather. Joint discomfort, be careful, yogis. Right now I'm feeling this whole inner quad area, so that's kind of nice, and this outer hip. So we're going to take a couple more big breaths here. And you're going to let that leg go or unwind your legs. Give yourself a little rinse. Now, we're not totally done. We're going to do one more thing. But before we get to that one more thing, I just want to take a moment and check in. And just see, how's the overall situation going? So the last thing we're going to do is called Dvipadipitham, and this is a movement of the hips going up and down like a wave. It literally translates as two-footed butt lift or two-footed lifting action. How's that? So, and it implies movement. How's that? So we're going to take the hips up. Okay, and I like to lift my toes off the floor when I get to the tippy top because it's easier as I come down, one vertebrae at a time, for me to kind of swoop my pelvis under so that I can feel my lumbar bones coming down one at a time. They usually like to stay as kind of a unit, and it feels good to me. If there's ever any pain around a vertebrae, try to keep that area stable rather than try to get movement there. Okay, so sometimes you can have discs that are a little out of sorts. You just want to be mindful. So if anything feels like a sharp shooting pain or even numbness or tingling, be mindful. And maybe don't lift as far, or be more cautious about keeping everything together as a unit. All right, so if your back is hip to this, hip to this, anyway, lift up your hips. I'm full of dad jokes. And then we're gonna curl the tailbone under and lower down as close as you can to one vertebrae at a time. And I feel my skin and my muscle tissue and my adipose tissue all touch the ground first, and then I feel the bones, and there's that last little part where the pelvis curves back to its neutral shape. But it doesn't matter, like you're trying to get the bones down to the floor one at a time, so that's what we're concentrating on, okay? Twice more, scoop up, and then be mindful, keep your neck out of pressure, so it's not that high a lift, and then really try to feel yourself plant each vertebrae from your back down one at a time. And this lower back vertebrae might have to stay as a little unit with each other if there's any issues there. All right, last one. Going up, hold and steady, swoop down one vertebrae at a time. Get to the bottom and the pelvis kind of winds itself back to its neutral, and you're going to give yourself little windshield wipers. Now we're going to do Shavasana. Don't skip this part, yogis. I know you're tempted to skip this part. Don't do it. This is the part that your nervous system has been waiting this whole time for. So allowing yourself to relax is an important component of the yoga practice. I'm going to spin around so I can get my blanket. Now, I like a blanket under my legs. You might like yours under your head, or you might not use it at all. So let yourself relax onto your back. If you don't like laying on your back, lay on your side or lay on your belly. That's okay too, as long as you lie down and give yourself permission to be completely free of all movement, except for breathing, of course, and heart rate and all that jazz. But mostly free of muscular movement, and also free to just be. No agenda, nothing to do right now. Just give yourself a few minutes to pause. Now take a little bit of care getting your neck in a position that feels neutral and relaxed. Relax the muscles of your face, especially the eyes and the lips and the jaw. Let an expression of kindness come into your eyes. So spend just a little bit more time paying attention to your body unwinding and letting go completely. I'm just going to stay a few more breaths. Breath so deep you can feel it to your toes. Let go with a really big sigh. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch everything out. Give yourself a big stretch. And then gather yourself up into a ball and give your favorite yogi one more hug for the road. Either rock yourself up or do what I do, roll to your side and then push yourself up. Now yogis, thank you for joining me for a little Saturday morning yoga Pilates fusion. Hopefully you enjoyed it and give me some feedback if you like different things on Saturday. Take a big breath, big sigh. Enjoy your day. Namaste.